on the show is a special advisor to the Governor on Cleaner Lagos Initiative, Engineer Adebola Shabi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So, sir, Visionscape obviously is in the lips of every Lagosian. Yeah. What their role is and why Lagos is seemingly still very dirty, even though we've had this new company coming to take care of our waste management. Why is it? What's the issue with Visionscape? Because there seems to be a controversy going on with Visionscape's ability to actually help keep Lagos clean.
Yes, I have to correct this notion that Lagos is dirty.
Okay.
No, we're picking up the waste on a regular basis. Okay. And you see, we generate about 20,000 tons of waste on a daily basis in Lagos, right? So Visionscape is a consortium of investors that have come into the state to invest in the waste management, solid waste management, right? Okay. And the job is not overwhelming for them in the sense that they are here with about 400 trucks, 250 compactors and 150 trucks. So it is not as difficult as people have been saying that, oh, it's been difficult for them.
What is obvious is different, sir.
Streets of Lagos.
Lagos
market.
It's obvious.
Yes. Let me start with market. Balogun, dirty.
Let me explain. Let me explain it to you. Okay. Out of these 20,000 tons that we are generating on a daily basis, 45% comes from the market, right? And you see this attitude of our marketers, they don't bag their waste. Yeah. We've been doing, and we continue intensifying the advocacy, teaching them how to bag this waste. You see, Visionscape definitely stations their vehicles at these markets. Yeah. You see, you have to look at the sequence on how the markets generate their waste. Right. Okay. You see, at night, like around 4 a.m., they bring in their containers, right? Hold on a second. They bring in their containers and they unload the containers with the cartons and everything out there. In the morning, when they resume, they clean up their premises and put all this waste out. Yes. In the afternoon, they also receive containers and do the same. So in the evening, they clean up, right? So at night, like around 11, 12 midnight, you see the Visionscape trucks, Tinubu, Balogun, right? So immediately these trucks are filled up and they leave, right? These people constitute another
pile of
waste, right? So Visionscape will definitely come in the evening again. So by the time you go there during the day, you will see heaps of refuse.
Okay. All right, sir.
You understand it now?
Right.
Okay.
So it is not the fault of the Visionscape. I mean, we've been asking them, bag your waste and put at designated areas where the operators will definitely come and pick your waste. But you see them still littering the Lagos roads with their waste.
Okay, sir. That's very important. It means that we need to be aware how to, you know, take care of, do our own part. But I don't know, there's these fumes, you know, from the Olusosun fire. Yeah. This is like 2-3 weeks now. And today while I was coming to work...
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Yeah. While I was coming to work, he's still there. Yeah. And so I was wondering...
Yeah, let me explain to you. You see, what you have at Olusosun is a landfill, right? What I mean by landfill is where the waste are being buried, all right? And you have a lot of gases coming out from this waste, ranging from methane gas, hydrogen sulfide gas, carbon monoxide, ammonia gases, and so on and so forth, right? On the day that we had this fire, the temperature on that day was 38 degrees centigrade, and the waste ignited itself. And you see, over there, we've not been sorting our waste. You have the commixture of waste, plastics, kitchen waste, biodegradable, non-biodegradable, the used tires. So when the fire started, you will see that you saw the thick black smoke.
Yes.
That was due to the plastic, the polyethylene, and the tires, right? And that smoke was there for some hours, and His Excellency and the State ESCO had to visit the location. Then we brought in the fire services and some other emergency services. We were able to subdue
So how
the
do we
fire.
avoid the Olusosun accident again? Because there's a new landfill in Ekpe now.
Yeah. The
What are we doing
reason
differently?
we are avoiding that in the sense that what we have, there's nowhere in the world you see a landfill or engineered sanitary landfill in the city. Or you see on the highway,
Should have a recycling.
or closer to the airport,
Yes.
or residential or medical facilities.
Right.
That is why, you see, His Excellency's vision is for us to have an engineered sanitary landfill. What I mean by that is that the gases will be captured and the leachate, the water from the waste will be captured and will be captured through a membrane and or a channel to a treatment plant where the water will be treated. It will not constitute any environmental pollution or degradation the way we have at Olusosun. The history of Olusosun has been in existence since 70s. That Olusosun, that area, was where, when that road was being constructed by Govanti in 1973-74, that was the area where they were excavating the laterite. They used to construct that road. And people now converted that place to a landfill.
Okay, so the thing is, it wasn't meant to be in the city.
Yeah, definitely not.
But the city has come to meet it.
Yes, definitely.
People in Ekpe are worried that the city would come and meet the landfill that we think we have moved to Ekpe, which is very far off.
Yeah.
Is the structure going on ground now in Ekpe going to be as engineered as you are saying it will be?
It is going to be. I have visited, let me explain it to you. Before the construction started that location, they had conducted what we call environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact assessment means to identify the impacts and to predict the impact that project will have on the environment. Right? What do I mean by the environment? Your water, the land, the social living, and everything.
All right, you're saying a lot of words. I understand you're trying to make us understand these technical issues, but they're a bit too hard for some people to digest. So let me break it down into simple terms. Yeah. When is Lagos State government going to get rid of this Olusosun sandfield? Because to get it out of this...
We have shot it. His Excellency visited it 2 days after that fire again, because he visited it. Immediately happened.
Yes.
2 days after that, he visited
this.
Look at the people walking in that area and that vicinity. And he looked at it. It's not safe for them.
It's not.
And it's not even good for their health.
He told us to relocate.
He had to shut it.
Okay.
He had shut it.
Okay.
And the people, we had met with the people over there to sensitize them, to let them know why we needed to shut it.
You are the special advisor on Clean Lagos Initiative. Yeah. We spend so much time and we are really out of time talking about what Visionscape is doing. But beyond the pile of physical debt, there are other waste that is being put into Lagos that is not going to make Lagos as clean as what the governor wants to achieve. How are you addressing the issues of industrial waste and how are you mopping it up? The people in the market that you say they're not conforming with your bagging system, how are you intending to find them, to get them to conform with the rules that you have placed on ground? Please just do that in like a minute.
Yes, I told you that we need to intensify on our advocacy on how to bag the waste. And on the issue of other waste, why and how the Cleaner Lagos Initiative came to be is to reform the whole waste management.
Water waste?
Water waste, no, your sewage waste, your e-waste, your furniture waste, used battery waste, used tire waste, and so on and so forth. We are reforming and centralizing how everything will be. And we are going to even encouraging recycling and reuse of
When are you giving out the bins? Because I heard that it's Cleaner Lagos.
They've been distributing the bins and the garbage bags. No, if they have not gotten to your place, be patient. You see, that is the problem we have.
Is it given to the neighborhood or given to individual houses?
No, individual houses.
Really?
Yes.
Who do we call?
There is my house, I've gotten.
Oh, I haven't gotten.
Oh, thank God.
I've not gotten.
I have called.
Thank God she has gotten. That is why I'm here to appeal to Lagosians.
Have you guys gotten?
No.
I just saw it in front of my house.
I'm appealing to you. Please be patient with us. You're going to get the garbage bags. You're going to get the garbage bins.
Yes.
And the moment you have all these things, you bag your waste. And we're encouraging you also to start sorting your waste from your houses. You, especially the youths sitting out here today.
We have to run off.
We want to encourage you to start engaging yourself in recycling.
We have to run off, but I need to ask this one question. Yeah. How realistic is it transferring waste from here all the way to Ekpe every single day, going back and forth? Is it, you guys, I mean, how do you plan to actually have another landfill somewhere, landfill somewhere else?
You see, that is why I said we need to intensify our advocacy.
Please.
It is not all about transferring your waste from Lagos to Ekpe. We have transfer loading stations. Where the waste will be compressed. And in the middle of the night, Vision Scale will use the big lorry to transfer to Ekpe.
Gotcha.
So with this transfer loading station, you see, in the waste management, let me just quickly run that. It's a chain. Generation, transportation, transit. That is the transfer loading station. Then to the disposal sites. That's it.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take, sir. Thank you. We'll obviously keep calling you because this issue of cleaner Lagos is not yet, we're not totally satisfied with everything.
You're going to get satisfied when we intensify on our advocacy.
All right.
You're going to get
I think that's what we took away. They're going to intensify on their advocacy. So hopefully, as they intensify, we get the message. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss Yoruba language as a compulsory subject in Lagos State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
So, thanks for staying with us. So recently, the Lagos State House of Assembly passed a bill making the teaching of Yoruba language compulsory in both private and public schools in the state, so as to prevent the language from going into extinction. To enlighten us more on this is the Chairman, House Committee on Education, Lagos House Assembly, Honorable Larry Ogunyemi. Welcome to the show, sir. So for those who have no idea what this bill is about, just give us a refresher on exactly why the bill was put together and how exactly you plan to implement it. Then I'll come to Nima.
Well, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. The law on the preservation and promotion of Yoruba language in Lagos State and for connected purposes is a child of necessity that was born out of the need to ensure that our language is not only preserved, but is also stopped from going into extinction. Let me paint a background to that. Worldwide, by United Nations stipulation, 21st of February of every year is marked as International Mother Language Day. And before I came into the House of Assembly, I've been there since 2011. The House conducts plenary in Yoruba language every Thursday. And my quest as to the reason for that is because they also want to promote the use of that language. About 2 years back, precisely June 2016, the House took the initiative to organize a stakeholders meeting, for the entire Southwest. Prominent traditional rulers were there, state governors, and the communique which emanated from that meeting was that we should have a law, because the stipulation presently about language in Nigeria is just found in the National Policy on Education, which says, a part of it says, a child shall learn a language of the environment, in which case in Lagos, the language of the environment is Yoruba. And therefore, the House of Assembly feels that that policy does not have the teeth to bite, and we must give a law to back it up. And that's precisely why we came up with this law.
I must commend the Lagos State House of Assembly for bringing this law, but I have reservations, and I've expressed it on the show because I am a non-Yoruba girl that was raised here. I speak Yoruba because the society had compelled it. But imagine if other languages were compelled to be taught in schools. The Edo languages, for instance, would have been easier for me. I had to learn my own language living here. It was a compulsory struggle. And I imagined that, if it was balanced like that, a lot of people will feel, included. But I feel the way it is now, you're just fighting to preserve just one language within a cosmopolitan state, and Lagos is.
Well, again, let me also paint another background. Language is a tool of national unity. It is a tool of cohesion. It is a tool of national cooperation. I was born and bred in the north. I attended my primary school in Kaduna. And I must say that way back in those days, in the early 70s, we were made to learn the Hausa language as a matter of compulsion. And that has helped me so much living in Lagos. My constituency, I have Hausa constituents. I speak Hausa language fluently. Imagine a situation. Very recently, the Nigerian army was saying to its officers to go and learn the 3 major languages of Nigeria, Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa, so that you can work in anywhere you are posted to in Nigeria. Now, the issue is, it's very simple. If you learn Yoruba language, it becomes an advantage to you for living in a Yoruba state like Lagos. What's your question?
It is an advantage, no doubt.
Yes.
Compelling only one language in a cosmopolitan state is where I have a problem. Where other languages exist, I think the law should have been made open to, to encourage learning any language, which is the mother tongue of the child or the student in question.
Well, again, I said something about the national policy on education. And the national policy on education is clear. It says a child shall learn a language of the environment. And that's explicit enough. That's what I will say.
For me, sir, also, I grew up in Jos, so I'm happy to send as well.
Now go there.
Okay. So I'm happy that you say you learned Hausa. I don't know. Growing up for me in school, we were actually compelled to learn Igbo in school.
Okay.
So we spoke Hausa at home, we spoke Hausa everywhere else. So when we came to school, we learned Igbo from JS1 till SS3. It was compulsory, we wrote our SSC, and we did very well, by the way. I know a lot of Igbo alphabets. But, sir, I feel that brought about like a, unity and also helped us to understand other cultures and be more respectful and appreciative of these cultures. But if we had just insisted on the Hausa that we already spoke, and as she said, a cosmopolitan city or town, where you have people from different backgrounds. My mom learn to speak Igbo from people surrounding her. Imagine if those surrounding her were forced to learn Hausa.
To add to that a bit, or to digress a bit from that, you're seeing it on one side of you being you coming in as maybe a non-Yoruba. But imagine Yoruba children born here, raised here, that can't speak Yoruba.
Which is what
and that's a major issue. So we have kids here who take pride in the fact that they speak English. I can't speak Yoruba. That is what this law protects, ensures that they speak their language.
I
so don't make it look as though...
For a child that had to learn the Edo language, I had to learn the Esako language, all the proverbs is where I speak it. I had a book. My father had to teach me. I appreciate the law. So don't misunderstand that. What I'm saying is that it would have been easier if when I was in school, it was allowed.
But Lagos is not Nigeria, though. I mean,
they are Nigerians first.
They are Nigerians first. So, you see, let me, digressing away from this, your controversy of whether the law is right or wrong, or whether it should have included more languages, I want to ask you concerning the business angle of it. Do we have enough teachers that are adequately empowered to teach Yoruba? Is there a policy to open up the opportunities of being a Yoruba teacher? Because the law would make it compulsory down to private school to teach Yoruba fluently. There will be need for people there. It will make sense if you also have a policy attached to your law that would encourage students in university to switch to Yoruba, that there is job in Lagos.
Now, let me before I answer your question, let me talk about this issue of your language of birth. Let me say that we were all born into our indigenous languages. The first language of the child is his or her indigenous language to which he or she was born. And therefore, we expect, and that's where we have the missing point. These days, parents don't teach their language any longer. They don't speak it to their children. And they expect that, oh, okay, if my child does not speak English, he's seen as somebody who is not civilized or whatever. But I think we should continue to preserve and promote our own. And now, having said that, the issue of teachers to teach the subject, yes, we are not mindful of the fact that we do not have enough teachers, just like it applies to some other subjects, and I think it's a general problem. I can tell you for free that very recently we held a meeting with all head teachers of public schools and private schools, and there the superintendent of education in our state, Her Excellency the Deputy Governor, raised the issue and said there's vacancy return with government as to the number of teachers we need to have to drive this law. And I must say that efforts have been made by government to make sure that presently all schools are covered to ensure that they learn Yoruba language pending the time that more teachers will come on board. Okay. And let me also say that it's an erroneous impression to say that we do not have people. There are a lot of people out there who studied Yoruba as first degree. I know the number of CVs I have received since that law came into being, and I say that we would have enough teachers to teach Yoruba in Lagos.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take some questions from our audience. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to go straight to the audience. Any comments or questions there? Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Omo Labake. I'm a teacher. I teach in a government school, under Ogun State government. I really want to commend the Lagos State government for that law. For the law, because at times when I teach English language. At times when I teach, the student will be like, "What is this woman saying?" Not until explain further in Yoruba language. Wow. That's when they will be able to get it. So but the problem now is what will now happen to the Igbo students and the Hausa students among us. Okay.
All right, that's the question.
Well, again, like I said, we do not have to. I keep hinging my argument on the national policy on education. I think the drafters of that policy know that, for example, if I live in eastern part of Nigeria and I work there and I have my family there, it is an advantage for my children to learn and speak Igbo. I think it's an advantage for all these children. You see, I know schools in Lagos, private schools, where Igbo pupils even speak Yoruba language better than children who are owners of the language. And I think it's an advantage. Like I was speaking Hausa to Miriam here, and like I said, I was at a place where there was going to be very serious, terrible security issue. And I heard an Hausa man says, and I said, there's going to be crisis here. And immediately I told my colleague, I said, look, we must live here. And we left there within 30 minutes. There was crisis. Language is also a tool of security. It's an advantage for you to know. So I think it's very important for us to know.
Wanting to preserve a language, not just Yoruba, all language should be preserved. But I want to use the opportunity to ask the House and the Ministry of Education to kindly visit the curriculum of the subject that are being taught, include more vocational courses, make it more practical. As you want to equip them with language, equip them with courses that will prepare them for the future.
That's an interesting point.
Well, vocational education in Lagos is also having its own overhaul, I must confess to you. And the state government is engaging some international countries who have made their mark in vocational education. And I must tell you that the 5 technical colleges we have are going to undergo serious overhaul. We know that in the face of unemployment all over the land, we must make our people to be self-made, to be self-employed. We must have a paradigm shift from white-collar job to people engaging in their own entrepreneurial concerns. And I think the government is doing so much in that direction.
There's a question on Twitter for you, sir. Bonnie Bush says, the language law is good, but I hope it won't be a criteria for graduating from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. I did Yoruba throughout primary and secondary school, but I'm not conversant with the language. There's a requirement in the law that says that without passing this law, without having a pass in this law, in this course, in this language, you can't get admission into tertiary institutions. Being a graduate of Lagos State University, I am afraid if these requirements will not clog the progress of science students, for instance, who had not had to be compelled to take languages in secondary schools.
Well, again, critics of this law have not really taken their time to thoroughly peruse its content. Let me say that there's nowhere in the law that says Yoruba language shall be compulsory for admission into tertiary institutions. So I think I should clear that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that it says it shall be a consideration for admission, in which case a child should not be discriminated against if he or she wants Yoruba language counted as one of the credits to be admitted in any of our tertiary institutions in Lagos State. So that's just the thing.
Let me take one more person from the other place. One more, yes, go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir. My question is, you know, there are some other private schools, this international school. Since you said the Yoruba language is compulsory, you know, in those days, they used to penalize you if you speak Yoruba language, and maybe you should pay money. With those international schools, like Avicenna Green, will they allow this kind of...
It's private and public. Thank you very much.
Yes,
well, again, let me also address the issue of private schools in Lagos. Number one, they operate under the laws of Lagos State. And before this became law, we have had series of interface. We have had the public hearing on this law, and they were part of it. And even after that, the Ministry of Education, like I said to you, had a meeting with them. You see, if you operate in our environment, you must learn to respect the rules that governs the operation of education in our state. For God's sake, in their own countries, when our children or our students go to learn, they must learn the language. Maybe in Russia, maybe in Germany, you must learn the language for 6 months before you proceed on your degree or course. So it should not be a difference here. And I think they will cooperate with the law of the land.
Can I just ask one question, sir?
Lagos says, what are you talking about? Yoruba language has always been compulsory in Lagos, especially as far back as the 90s. Omogbala on CFR says, making Yoruba a compulsory subject across Lagos State schools should be applauded. Our indigenous languages are gradually going into extinction.
Unfortunately, we have to go. There's no more time. But thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks again to our audience. Fabulous having you here. Thank you so much. So, hope you enjoyed the show today as much as we did. Please stay tuned again for tomorrow for another edition of Your View. Have a fabulous day. See you.